So I first found out that I could draw in kindergarten. A buddy of mine, Joey, we would wait in the auditorium after school, and he taught me how to draw. It was just like little stick figures or like little circle heads with T bodies, and that was like kind of how I got started. But by the time third grade hit and the internet was starting to become a thing, all the kids would, instead of bring trading cards to school, they would bring pictures of Dragon Ball Z characters to school printed out on computers. I didn't have any of that stuff. I didn't have the internet, I didn't have a computer, I didn't have a printer. But I had a pencil and paper, so in order for me to kind of keep up with the rest of the kids, I would borrow and trace their Dragon Ball Z pictures, and it just kind of took off from there. I was the cool kid now because I was making it myself. And that's kind of how I got into drawing. That's how I knew I had something. You guys originally approached me because you had bought some of my artwork, my Attack of the 56-Foot Chicken, and you guys were huge fans of it, thought it was cool. So you guys approached me and found my contact information and was pretty much like, hey, we love your work, would you be interested in doing a personal commission piece? And I'm no stranger to personal commission pieces. It's actually one of the things that I love doing because I love helping people bring their vision to life. There's just no greater joy than to see somebody excited and seeing themselves in art. So, we talked over, we had a series of Zoom calls, and we pretty much kind of went through the entire creative process where, you guys would tell me what it is that you were thinking, what it is that you wanted to accomplish. I learned a lot about you guys' backstory as a company, and it's very cool. And the fact that you guys want to make this kind of like a more fantastic kind of thing, it really spoke to me. It really kind of reminded me of Indiana Jones, but also the old 50s, 40s pulp stories. And we landed on the dragon that hoards wealth, the old legend. It has hoarded these impossible amounts of wealth. And we've got these piggy banks that represent the little guys, like you and me, who save their money and work hard to be able to obtain just a fraction of that wealth. But that's where the hoarder, the gatekeeper, comes into play and steals it from us. But now we've got you guys at OinkChing, who, this financial literacy company, taking it upon themselves to steal the wealth back and redistribute it amongst the people. I really want to focus on defining traits, like hair, glasses, hats, identifiable marks. So now that that's all into place and being set forth, now I can start going into the detail that is the main piece, the dragon. Every cartoonist sees the world with a dash or heavy dose of fantasy. Everything's interesting, at least for me in particular. There's interest in everything. I'm probably the worst driver ever because I'm looking at everything but the road. I mean, the clouds can be nice one day, or a person could be walking their dog funny, and an idea will pop out at you. No one ever goes looking for an idea. It's very difficult to look and find for an idea. But when an idea finds you, that's when you really know that you got something. I wasn't good in school. So my childhood was a very mischievous one. I had my report cards all said, draws too much in class, can't pay attention, doesn't take things serious. Not much has changed since then, but I really took to drawing at the time. Drawing was my safety blanket. It was my only constant in a time of change. And that's just kind of how art and I kind of came into like this marriage. You know, back then you couldn't see me anywhere without a book and pencil, and same to this day. You know, part of every good story, there is conflict, and that conflict comes in the form of an antagonist, whether that antagonist is nature, another person, or an animal. So in this particular instance, we're talking about a dragon here. Since he represents the hoarding of wealth and just like this giant gatekeeper that we normal folks in the financial world or in a financial aspect can't always seem to get past. We want him to look really true to the part. So we don't want to skimp out on the details. The truth behind my ambition is that I hate everything else. I've worked many a jobs. I've worked in kitchens. I've been a custodian. I was an ice cream man. I worked retail. I sold knives. I hated all of it. It was just boring, and just I hated people kind of telling me what to do. That's what prompted me to kind of start my own business and to start taking my art more seriously from a professional standpoint. Because even in all of the menial jobs that I've had, there was always a story there. And I guess as a storyteller, that's part of the journey. So even though I hated all the jobs that I had, I'm grateful for them because now I have this library of stories to tell. And through my determination and my diligence, I'm growing an audience that want to hear these stories. So now we've reached the second portion of the process, which is the digital side of things. We've completed the physical side by having a fully rendered charcoal pencil to paper piece. We take that into the scanner, high resolution scan, bring it up into Photoshop. Now, there's usually a controversy between artists as to whether start a piece fully digitally or start a piece completely traditional and finish it as such. I kind of like the best of both worlds. I like to draw a physical piece just to kind of get that marriage of pencil to paper, and then I like to bring it to the digital side of things. The way that art has evolved in this new digital age is that now there's an entire library of tools available at just the click of a button. I mean, what would take the artists of the last century, decades, to master all and to acquire the tools, all of that can be done now within months, years. I'm still trying to figure out the color palettes here, but I think we are well on our way to a finished product. Because there's a story in everything. You know, I mean, seeing an ant walk across the carpet, it's like, well, where's that ant going? Where's that ant coming from? Does that ant have a family? Does that ant have enemies? And I feel like that is just, there's a story in everything, in anything. And I think I would say that I see myself as a storyteller because that's just all I knew how to do as a kid was just tell stories. I had a very vivid imagination. Probably still do, not as sharp as back then, but I would love to talk to that kid.